To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't believe we have any added agenda items this evening. Do you have anything, Patrick, that you need to add?
I do not.
All right, so next on our agenda, we have a commendation for the Teacher of the Year. Did you have?
Yes, so we have the 2026 Teacher of the Year with us, Alyssa Ivanoff. Very pleased to have her, definitely well deserved. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to Daryl to introduce her to the board.
We introduced Alyssa at convocation. So it's my pleasure again here to introduce her here tonight. And what I'm going to do is just kind of read through what I stated at convocation. So Alyssa joined East Windsor Middle School in 2019 as a fifth grade special education teacher. Incredibly, her very first year was during the height of the pandemic, which we were just talking about. Yet she met that challenge with resilience, grace, and unwavering commitment to her students. Now entering her seventh year in the district, Alyssa has become not only an exceptional educator, but also a respected leader, advocate, and mentor within the school community. Her impact goes far beyond academics. Her students, they consistently make progress in reading and math, but under her guidance, they also grow in confidence, independence, and essential life skills. Her classroom is a place where every child feels safe, supported, and valued, and definitely the kind of classroom any parent would wish for their own child. Alyssa's colleagues describe her as relentless in her advocacy for her students. She ensures that every learner receives the individualized support that they need to thrive, and she skillfully uses data to drive instruction and problem solve in real time. She works seamlessly with her grade level team and our paraprofessionals, fostering a true spirit of collaboration that benefits all of her students. Beyond the classroom, Alyssa serves as the special education PLC leader at the middle school. And it's in this role she organizes and facilitates meetings, creates practical tools for her colleagues, and partners closely with district leadership to strengthen best practices and compliance within the special ed department. Alyssa is also an invaluable resource for our new teachers. She serves as a mentor for the team program and has been instrumental in supporting and cultivating our newest educators as they begin their careers. Through her leadership, she has elevated the entire special ed department, creating a more student-centered, data-driven, and collaborative approach to supporting students. Perhaps most importantly, Alyssa builds strong partnerships with families. Her consistent communication, compassion, and willingness to listen ensure that parents feel informed, valued, and included every step of the way. In short, Alyssa exemplifies what it means to be a Teacher of the Year. She is dedicated, passionate, collaborative, and deeply committed to the success of her students and her colleagues. On behalf of the East Windsor Public School community, we are proud to recognize her with this honor. So congratulations. I know Deirdre's here. I don't know if you want to speak to Alyssa or Mr. Field or Mrs. Lynch.
Sure. I just want to say it's been an honor working with Alyssa. She really kind of embodies what it means to be a team player. She's whenever I reach out to her and ask her to help out with a new staff member or to help out with the caseload, it's always a yes, how can I help? And she's a problem solver. And I really appreciate that about you, Alyssa, and happy to have you on our team. And as Mr. Rillard said, you use your data to drive your instruction and your students benefit from it. So thank you.
So Alyssa's one of my first hires at the middle school. Welcome everybody. No, she's a great teacher. She's a great team player. If you look at the data from fifth grade, that team is amazing. And Alyssa is one of the key components of that team, just really driving that team for looking at data. She's also on our MTSS for 5th grade, but also making those connections with kids. I remember her doing the anime club, which was kind of a little out of her wheelhouse, but like kids asked her to be the advisor for that club and just jumped in there and kind of learned a lot about anime that year to just, welcome the kids. So she does an amazing job in and out of the classroom. So thank you, Alyssa.
Thank you. Feel free to say anything.
No, I'm just, I'm truly honored to be recognized and very proud to be a member of the East Windsor Public School community. Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, we did have an executive session that we no longer need to have this evening, so that will be rescheduled for another meeting. Next on the agenda, we have the minutes from August 27th. Those are our regular meeting minutes.
I make a motion to approve the August 27th, 2025 regular meeting minutes.
I'll second.
All right, so Courtney made the motion and Heather seconded. Is there any discussion or any changes to the minutes that are needed? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next on the agenda, we have public participation. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak? All right. Next on the agenda, we have our student representative report. I would like to introduce that we have a new student rep with us this evening. Would you like to introduce yourself, Tim? And
Sure.
give a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Hi, my name's Tim Meehan. I'm a senior right now at East Windsor High School. Yeah. That's it.
Why don't you share with them because I know you're involved in activities as well too. So why don't you share whatever clubs and activities you participate in as well?
So I do a bunch of sports. I do indoor track and field. I did basketball for 2 years, but that's when I switched to track and field. I do cross country right now. I do baseball as well. I do Model Congress and Model UN as well. I'm part of the National Honor Society and Safe School Leaders. And that might be it.
Sounds like it keeps you pretty busy.
I think that the board will value your perspective. I will tell you as there's discussion, you are sitting as part of the board, so if you have input, feel free, don't be shy. And, the student's perspective is very important to this board, and I can attest to that.
So start off for Broadbrook Elementary School. Broadbrook Elementary School is off to a strong start and positive start for the school year. Teachers are focusing on establishing classroom routines and expectations. Both students are happy and excited to be back in school with their friends. Teachers have begun administering beginning of year assessments to guide instruction and support student learning. Pre-K students and their families had a successful meet and greet prior to their first day, which helped ease the transition and set a welcoming tone for our youngest learners. In addition, Broadbrook Elementary School received several generous donations of school supplies from families, which have been greatly appreciated by our staff and students. East Windsor Middle School is off to an amazing start. On Friday, August 29th, we held our Welcome Back Carnival, where students enjoyed the fun carnival games, met Snickers and miniature horse, and cooled off with Kona Ice. This week, students have begun their I-rate diagnostic assessments and reading and math to help us better support their learning throughout the year. And for East Windsor High School, the spotlight shines on all our Panther faculty and students. We had an exceptional start to our school year. Every student adhered to our cell phone protocol, and families partnered with us in supporting this expectation. Students met their teachers, began building classroom communities, and jumped right into content. Together, we have already begun the journey toward becoming lifelong learners, responsible citizens, and self-advocates. These are key qualities in our portrait of a graduate. We don't hide our Panther pride. This first week was truly pride-worthy.
Thank you very much. All right. Next on our agenda, we have the superintendent's update about convocation and professional development.
Yes, and if you look in your packet, pages 9 through 15, you can find kind of the convocation agenda along with the PD schedule. What I can tell you is that Monday, which was August 18th and 19th, we did new teacher orientation. On page 9, you see some of our new staff. And the reason why I say some of our new teacher staff is because that new staff list is anyone that was hired as far back as spring. Depending on some of our late hires, we don't always have the opportunity to introduce them to the entire district. So we take this as an opportunity to introduce those staff that were late hires last year. Those staff listed too are not just teachers. It includes like paraprofessionals, if it's custodian, cafeteria, all classifications. So it's an opportunity to introduce all staff in front of the district and give them a warm welcome. Going back to new teacher orientation, very excited about the talent that we have brought in the district and that we continue to bring in. And I think Alyssa is a product of that. I mean, she was hired during COVID, but is a hire in the last 4 to 5 years, and feel like we have continued to bring in a high level of talent. That Wednesday, we had convocation for all staff. We did change it up this year. Typically, we start with a breakfast and then transition into an all district in the auditorium. This year, we started at the buildings, allowed staff to meet with the principals, kind of get some time in the classroom. That was well received, and we did receive good feedback. We then came to the high school in the auditorium about 10 a.m. and we held our formal convocation where we introduced new staff, had staff recognition, certainly had some remarks as far as the start of the school year from myself. And then obviously it was highlighted with the Teacher of the Year speech from Alyssa, which we appreciate. She's on Fran representing the board as well and being in attendance. And then from there, we had a district-wide lunch and then transitioned into professional development, which is both individual at building and district. With that, I'll just hand it off to Daryl. Really does a really nice job as far as putting together the professional development and working in collaboration with our principals and other administrators.
Yeah, so I think beginning on page 12, you'll notice the schedule for the 3 days of professional development that the teachers and all staff participate during those first 3 days. And one of the things is you'll notice is all the presentations we typically go through for curriculum. You'll notice some of our focus areas are literacy, our math, our systems related to data analysis. All of those are highlighted throughout those 3 days. We really, I would say probably one of our first years, we really highlighted the systems that we have here in district, and the professional development throughout those 3 days really aligned to all of the areas of focus that we've concentrated on. So whether it's building safety and security, literacy, math, science, expectations related to all of those areas, and then obviously onboarding all of the new teachers and getting them up to speed. But the things that we talk about with data analysis and the focus areas that we have in every building, if you go through each of those schedules and those days, you'll see that those are the main things that we discuss throughout that week. MTSS is a huge theme, and it's really setting up those routines and structures in each of the buildings and then making sure we're off to a strong start. And then the last page, after those 3 schedules, you'll see all of the state mandated trainings that we have to complete. And we kind of divide those up. So, to start the year, there are certain segment of trainings that have to be completed. And then obviously, as we kind of move later into the year, those are all required trainings that we all need. So.
I don't recall seeing that whole schedule thing in the past for a convocation, and it was really interesting for me to see all of that. So thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
Did anybody else have any other questions or comments about that presentation? All right.
Thank you.
A lot of work to organize.
Yeah, but I mean, to Patrick's point, those are all meetings with all of the school administrators, nursing, custodial, every department in the district. We start organizing in May, at the end of the year. talking about all of the trainings that we need to have, included for the upcoming school year. So that's when we start planning that each year, so.
Do teachers ask for any other, besides this set schedule, any other professional development that they would seek or need during the school year? Did you hear any of that?
They do by building, so I'm certainly allow Tim to answer, middle school, but I'll give you an example,
Yeah.
like at Brockbrook. They asked as far as, like essentially like response to behavior, so we
Yeah.
brought in, two gentlemen.
Okay.
And the feedback on that PD, was outstanding.
Good.
I think so. At our school, we have we have a 2-year plan. So we started 2 years ago in January. The teachers, we came up with 3 strategies that we really wanted to focus
Yeah.
on. One was student discourse, which we're continuing doing training on. The other one was learning targets, which the staff has really done an amazing job. And the last one is feedback. So that's what we're working on for this year. The student feedback, teacher feedback to students and things like that. So.
I was just gonna say, you're more than welcome to stay, Alyssa, but if you would like to head out, we understand it is a school site, so you can listen to us, for the rest of our agenda, or you can, we appreciate your being here and, participating.
Thank you so much.
All right, next on our agenda, we have our school renovations project update.
Yes, so I know it's a standing agenda item. So I kind of lose, I'll be honest, I lose. Yeah.
Clear.
I thought that was directed solely.
So I will say with the school renovations projects, at times I lose track as far as why I've given an update and why I haven't. So if I've repeated myself, I'm going to apologize. But when we were, when myself, Daryl and Tim attended the Department of the Connecticut state release of standards. It was attended by Jamie Foster. So I took the opportunity to spend some time with her after about our school renovations project. And I will say she's been very good. So has our rep Carol Hall as well as Senator Anwar as far as giving the time. I want to say, Denise, you and I have had at least 2, maybe even 3 meetings with them to date. And, obviously to give me the additional time, certainly in the progress we've made with our school renovations projects, as far as having almost our conceptual designs done, having the ad specs done, having costs assigned. We're a lot farther away. I mean, a lot farther ahead than we had our initial meeting. I don't know, maybe that was 6 months ago. And so in my conversations with her and knowing the price, she has indicated that she's willing to advocate on our behalf and through special legislation in an attempt to get us additional reimbursement that, if successful, you got to highlight, if successful, would make both projects affordable. So that is a very positive news in the sense that, she feels like we're in a strong enough place where she feels confident that she can bring that forward. Again, she's bringing it there. It has to go through the process. But that is next April. So there is kind of a wait and see prior to that. I know that the first Wednesday of each month, which the next one is in October, as far as our ad hoc committee, certainly will relay that update during that. Certainly I have my own personal thoughts, and certainly obviously the committee will certainly weigh in. I think it would be valuable at this time to really use this to discuss in what ways can we inform the community as far as where we are, and should it go forward, how are we going to engage the community as well? Because should everything pass and go forward, and we're looking at a referendum in September, that's a short window. But we have a large window right now to plan and be intentional with our plans as far as communication engagement. There's no reason why all those things can't be done and organized between now and then. So I think there's an opportunity to make good use of this time. And, there will be a wait and see, which I know can make us all anxious, but overall, I think that is positive news.
Patrick, I just have one question. It's really a question for the board too. I totally agree with you in terms of, people. I don't know if the community has come to you or anyone else about questions, where are we? It doesn't seem like anything's happening. And so my concern, and I don't know where to go with it. So it really is, I just don't know. Do you think, that we should have, just put out a statement actually by the board in terms of where we are, what's been done, and some of the things that we're asking, that why the waiting period in terms of legislative? Because I think that people think, people that I have come up to me say, it's not going to happen. Is it dead? And so in the absence of just an update for people, a lot of different communication happens. So we can't promise anything, but do you think it would be possible, or I ask my fellow members of the board, for communication to come from the board in terms of, where we are and just what we know at this point?
I mean, I personally think that's a good suggestion. What I can do is I can put and draft something to bring forward to the board
Yeah.
to look, and if it looks good,
Yeah.
certainly put it out to all families as far as an update. My suggestion would be to wait after the next ad hoc meeting, because
Just kind of suggest that.
and then look at it early October, mid-October latest, and putting out that communication. If that works for everyone.
Good idea. I do think it makes sense to give an update, because I think there's kind of some confusion or just kind of not knowing what's going on out there. So I think that would be good to put out an update, but it makes sense to wait till after.
I also think October ends up being a good time. Families get inundated with a lot back to school. Obviously,
Yeah,
you have the
yeah.
opening of school, then you have the open houses that are going through now. At that point, you've kind of gotten through that part of the school year.
Yeah.
And then it's a nice time to provide an update in hopes that it reaches the intended audience.
Yeah, yeah,
People are
yeah.
paying
I
attention.
think it just says in an honest way where we are.
Yes.
I agree. Something should be put out, because it does seem like it kind of they'll have to go out to the like, where'd it go?
I just want to say, I can tell you,
Okay.
with my time, that's definitely not the case though.
No, not with you, but the,
My concern, but I want to address that, is what do you tell them? It's kind of, because we really
promise
we have done a lot of things, and there's a lot in process. But what do you tell them? Do you tell them our plan is to do middle school, high school over there? How far into the details do we get?
Yeah.
Because my concern is that if you don't give them enough information, then we're in the boat of, you're not telling us enough. You've got to be doing something behind the scenes and blah, blah, blah. Do you go down the road of how much this is going to cost to give people a primer to what may be happening in April? I'm just not sure what the best way to go.
Yeah, let me draft something. I can bring it to the board. I can get feedback, and then I can certainly have something drafted to the board. I would still rather wait till after ad hoc, but I can have it at the very next board meeting following that meeting.
And I guess part of my question is, would this golden egg company be someone who was supposed to advise us on
Right,
what type of
exactly.
statements we were going to make? Is it worth engaging them or? we
I mean,
don't really
they,
have-
I mean, we have an internal meeting, so that's something that we can, ask, because we have one,
If there's something coming up next week, it might be worth asking that maybe they could, make some suggestions about when you're at this point in the process, what is the usual, what should be communicated? Yeah, and then obviously we would fill in our details from East Windsor, but just kind of in a general strategy type thing. Maybe they could advise a little bit in terms of that as well.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. This golden egg might be the people to, or scrambled egg or whatever that is.
I think it's
But it should come out from the board.
No, I
they
believe
say
it should come out from the board. I'm just saying that they could give some advice or
Sure.
some, maybe some, strategic input, and whether we choose to take that or not, but at least then, that may give us some direction as well.
Yeah.
I just don't want to confuse people or set people's,
Yeah,
expectations too high or too low.
yeah.
No, I think you just, I mean, so I think part of the communication, again, I'll draft something, but I think they need to know the timeline. They need to know the process and, they need to know like, should we not be able to secure additional reimbursement, then we're going to have serious conversations as far as prioritizing one project over the other. And, I can draft something and bring it forward to the board.
So one question that I have, and this will probably be discussed at the ad hoc meeting. Since there's really not gonna be any new information released until April, and we were kind of gonna use this time to just focus on like community engagement conversations. Are we also gonna use this time to kind of develop a contingency plan based off of what we had right now? Cause I know things were still up in the air in terms of like the reimbursements, like from your last correspondence. The last meeting, you said that we weren't able to get the reimbursements for the expansion of like the special ed and not pre-K, but like the FRC and things like that. But I know you were working with
Yeah, so I have a communication through Department of Administrative Services, and they still have not. They have responded saying they're looking at internally. I believe we are the first ones to actually pursue legislation that essentially like we are entitled to that.
Choice.
I don't think anyone's ever pursued it. And that's why they don't know the answer. So from our local legislators, they said if we continue not to get an answer, to lean on them for that.
So we'll continue to move forward in that direction until.
Oh, yes, we would still, because I mean, we would be entitled to it.
Yeah.
The question we have is, honestly, it's a pretty simple question. Do you get the reimbursement on the front end or do you get the reimbursement on the back end?
Yeah.
And how do we access it? That's the other question.
And how is the percent calculated? I mean, our percent of students, because it's based on, for every percent of your overall population they represent, it's an additional percent to your reimbursement. So our question is, like, I mean, our percent is pretty consistent year to year, so there's not a huge fluctuation year to year, but it does. So, 1 year it might be 8%, 1 year it might be 6.5%. So, and when you're talking about a percent or 1.5%, that ends up being.
And they were asking for a larger commitment at one point, right? Like they were asking, I thought Choice was saying, like, we want to continue this program and we want it to be at certain levels over the next certain number of years. Choice.
I mean,
I thought they had said something.
I mean, they are, but we're not looking to, like, our number,
Expand.
yeah,
Okay.
we're looking.
Well, I'm just saying, if they're looking, at least for us to keep having it, then they should at least explain how that would work in terms of funding. Yeah.
Who's the head of that particular department?
For DAS.
Well, no, for the choice and the choice application.
They have several.
It's a whole
people involved.
choice.
Yeah, it's more of a team. I wouldn't say there's just one person assigned.
That runs through DAS.
Choice does?
It doesn't,
No,
no, not
So that's-
choice, but the reimbursement for the.
correct. DAS is the one that's.
Oh, all right, okay, that's,
The
yeah.
They make the determination.
So that's
Yep.
who's out of pockets.
Yep.
And the whole, okay.
Right. Well, I think that that would be a good next step. We can see what, what's on the October agenda. For the ad hoc. All right, so we're good with that. You didn't have any other?
I did not.
Okay. All right, next on the agenda, we have old business for discussion. We have the BOE handbook. I know Noreen, you had sent something.
I think I had sent two, Kate, then the second one you could scratch because I found it. Don't remember, what did I send?
I can.
Patrick probably.
Yeah, I was gonna look back too, but I know you had said the second one was part of state statute.
Yeah, the second one, yeah, I found the statute.
But one of it was about, if you recommend termination.
Oh, yes, the termination.
Then the Board of Ed wouldn't have to do with that.
Well, it says that Patrick, the superintendent, and the superintendent line said he recommends terminations. But we don't do them, so I'm not sure if that should just be the superintendent is.
Yeah, we can remove that too. I think essentially what we did was we used another school districts as a model. So my assumption is that was language that was from the model of, and so that may be the way it works in their school district. So one thing we could do is we either could change the language or we could just remove it.
When I read it, I said he recommends termination to who?
Yeah.
We don't terminate.
I would.
I think we could probably just remove that. Do people agree in general that where we're not really involved in?
Yeah. I think that was one of my concerns too, Kate, so that's good. That's it for me too.
Okay, and yeah, did you have anything else, Betsy? I know, but
No, that was it. Yeah, what I went through. That was one of the things that I kind of picked up.
Okay. She had mentioned, Jessica, what page it was. Do you want me to forward you this or did you have that one from Patrick?
Patrick emailed it to me.
Okay.
Yeah, between myself and Jessica, we'll get it done. And then what we'll do is we'll kind of bind it somewhat to the model that we had, and then it'll be ready. And as new board members come on board, they'll have this valuable resource that they can access.
That's great.
It'll be very helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of it. Jessica, did you put most of that together?
Yeah, she was really.
She
good.
did.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Jess.
Thank you, Jessica.
All right. And we have new business for a vote. We have a job description in the packet. And that's 16. Yep, page 16. Thank you. And this is the MTSS liaison. Is
Yes.
this a new?
It's. So yes, it's new, but it's also replacing a current position. So it's not like adding a position to the district. In the teacher contract, it's referred to service team facilitator, which is the same type of process. It's essentially service team was the model from the previous administration. Obviously, I mean, that process needed to be updated when you looked at our results. Certainly, you look at the results of the last 4 or 5 years, and you're seeing the difference. And certainly MTSS has a lot to do. So it's replacing service team. And it does change their duties and responsibilities, not necessarily their time or when they meet, but the function on how they meet and how they do their work. Would you say that's a fair statement, Daryl?
And is this a full-time?
No, it's
Or is this part of
it's
it?
actually, I thought we put in there where it falls in. It falls in group 8 in the teacher contract.
It's
So it's a stipend.
Yep.
Okay, it does say that at the end. Sorry. So an annual stipend is outlined in group 8. So it would be on top of someone else's.
Correct. I believe group 8 is 3% of whatever bachelor's plus 60 is of step 1 in the contract.
That's what this is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there one in each building?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, thank you, Noreen. That's what I was thinking too. All right, did anybody have any questions about the content of the job description itself or anything?
Make a motion to approve the job description.
Second.
All right, motion made by Denise and seconded by Heather. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Fran, did you have any questions or, want to say yay or nay?
Yay.
Okay. All right, motion passes. Thank you. All right, the next two, items, we do have wording for the motion, but do you want to kind of describe a little bit about how we are able to close the two CNR accounts
Yes,
for
so.
the chimney repair and the gym ceiling?
Yeah, so I'm going to defer the group to pages 18, 19, 20, really 18 through all the way through 28. So we had two capital improvement projects. One was the Broadbrook gym ceiling, which gladly was repaired. If you remember with that project, there was money obviously for removal, but there was also money allocated for replacement. We were unsure based on what was inside, like once the ceiling tiles were removed, whether we could leave it open or if we were going to have to do like a drop ceiling. The goal was to leave it open, which is what took place. So by that taking place, there was no need for removal. So when we close out the project, if you look on page 18, there's $10,225 remaining in the closeout of that project. The other project we had was the Broadbrook chimney. And so if you look at that project on page 19, there was quite a bit left on that. Just under 50,000. So you have the $49,453.20. So what we want to do is vote to close out that project. Now, in the meantime, we have a significant capital improvement project. So if you look on page 20, and really what I'll defer you to is starting on page 23. But we have a runoff on the back fields of the high school. It is causing erosion. It is starting to escalate. So if you look on pages 24, 25, you can see how the trees are collapsing because of the runoff, because of the erosion, and starting to like essentially like impeach on the fields. Certainly we want to maintain those playing fields because we don't really have another option for them to play. And so the repair for it is you have a quote from, I believe it's Rollicott Construction. They were recommended to us through DPW. They are on the state bid list and it's $57,300. So I'm trying to creatively problem solve because we talked about putting it on the SIP list. But even if that's approved, that work can't take place till the following July. You have a hard winter, you have hard rains. It's really a problem that needs to be resolved as soon as possible. We looked at these projects that were remaining funds, and one option is you can close these two projects out, vote to close them out, and then vote to create a new CNR line, allocate the money, which is approximately 60,000, which is just within budget for us to complete this project. We did this once before. My first year superintendent wasn't quite as much. It was to replace playground equipment. I cannot recall the project we closed out is with the prior administration. And we did the same thing. In talking with Amy on the town side, once you take these steps, she can create the line on the town side and we can move forward as soon as possible to resolve the issue.
We end up with that money left over.
Well, the gym ceiling was one. Kyle Can you speak to as far as like the chimney, why that came so much under budgeted?
I think there was contingency, involved in pricing that we fell under the budget.
Yeah, I thought there was two options too. Wasn't there two options prior to going as SIP? I thought they encased it, but I thought there was a second option that was more expensive too.
Yes, we ended up being able to, fill in the cracks instead of fully ripping sections down and rebuilding.
Were there any other questions about these accounts or about that proposal to close these two accounts and roll it into a new one to take care of a different kind?
We've done it before, right? So close out the accounts and then we create another one.
Purpose.
And we repurpose that money. It's still kind of within the same, within the same buckets as we talked about. So it's not a transfer to another line.
No.
So I don't.
I mean, when I talked to Amy, she thought it was a great use
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
To receive.
Well, in view that you're telling us that this is kind of an emergency situation. Then needs to be taken care of.
Does it need to go to the board of finance?
It does not. Obviously, we would want to inform them that we proceeded in this manner as a professional courtesy. Once your vote and talking with Amy, and I know we did this 4 years ago, but I mean, half the time I can't remember what I did yesterday. But no, once you take this vote, the money will be available. Amy can create the line tomorrow, honestly.
So I just want to understand, just one thing. So this money, if not, would be going back to the town, right? Into, is that right there? It would just stay here.
Not seeing our label as it is,
Would it?
the town could
It does.
grab the money.
Well, that was my question.
There has to be a certain amount of time lapse, but I think after that time lapse, then it becomes.
Yeah, so we should.
They can't sit there forever.
No.
I mean, they can't sit there in perpetuity, so.
We used to.
I would just, Patrick, confirm with Amy that it doesn't have to go to the board of finance for her to actually do the transfer.
I can tell you, I asked, and I mean, in my conversation, she clearly said it did not.
Because they meet next week, so if it's possibility that it has to, then, try to get it on their agenda. It may not have to.
In my conversation, she was pretty clear. I clearly understood it did not. I mean, obviously, I would do though is still create some type of memo with Ryan to share, what we did to inform them. I would include the documentations of the pictures and stuff to keep them informed.
And Kyle is gonna check as far as inland wetlands to see if we need some kind of permission for that, because that could delay the project.
I have a question, Kyle. Just looking at where this is. How far do we own over into that area that's on the other side of the pit, like over here? You know how far?
I do not know. I can find out.
We own down to the river?
Okay.
Yeah, I know that there used to be an idea, there was at one point years ago, we talked about expand, we go to the river, I know that part, because we were talking about having kayak launches out there for, it was a great idea. We were working with the state, whatever. No, it was a wonderful idea.
Yes, that would be fun.
And then the auto auction blew that out of the water. We were so close. Anyways,
That was before my time.
yeah, it was a long time ago. But just looking at this, I'm curious as to all of this land, like over here. Like who owns that? Is that ours? I mean, we don't own any of it. It's town property. But that's a lot of land out there, like for.
It's sloped, I think. Isn't it sloped?
It's definitely.
Slopes down toward the river.
It does.
It's
Oh,
goes down to it.
and we definitely own that portion of it. Because if we don't own part of it, then you know,
That is
everything else.
where the drop off, that is school property.
All right, if you want to go.
Lab out there.
Okay, go ahead, Mindy.
I'll make a motion to move to close the two open the two open CNR project accounts. BBS chimney in the amount of 49,453.20 and the BBS gym ceiling in the amount of 10,225.
I second that.
All right, so we have a motion by Heather and a second by,
I think I said I am Betsy, so it doesn't matter. Whoever you want to choose tonight is up to you.
Carrie or Betsy.
Carrie or Betsy. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Fran?
Aye. I'm having trouble with my on-off button.
That's okay. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. And then we have a second
Yep.
motion
I'll make
regarding
a,
creation of the new.
I'll make a motion to utilize funds from the closed CNR projects, BBS chimney and BBS gym ceiling in the total amount of $59,678.20 to create a CNR fund to address the East Windsor High School wood line.
All right, motion made by Heather. Do I have a second? Seconded by Denise. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Aye.
All right, hang on. We do have discussion.
Sorry, Fran, I'm interrupted. His proposal from Roller Cook? Did we get more than one bid from?
Oh, we did not, but they are on the state bid list.
So my question is, so we have 59,000 plus, but we're talking about 65,000 toward this project. Where's the other amount coming from?
Yeah, it's 57. Yeah, and
You're at, you,
the SIP,
Yeah.
we did, because we did a 10% contingency, because
Yeah,
you have to remember, like, when it goes, so when you have this, the SIP,
yeah,
by the time it goes to SIP, you're almost a year away.
right.
So in the SIP, you have a 10%, obviously.
I get that, Patrick. I understand that, but where does the additional money come from then?
We may not need it if we don't have to wait that much longer.
Okay.
That's what he's saying. Like, we budgeted at 65 if you had to wait another
I got it.
months. But if we can get it done quicker, then it would cost the amount that we have.
Okay.
Is there concern about needing to get more bids or where it just states?
You're not required to if they're on the state bid list.
Does it expire? The bid, it's great.
No, I've been in contact.
Yeah, Kyle spoke to him as recently as this week too.
And they originally thought it was gonna be after the capital projects were approved, so they were looking to do it next year anyway, so if we can get it done earlier, they're on board.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at the price. Seems kind of low.
We were pleased with the amount.
Well, it was good in this case, so.
So we'll get a new contract from that.
The sooner we can get.
We will do, once it's approved,
Yeah.
we would move forward in that.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, and we got Fran's yes vote as well. Thank you, everybody. All right, next on the agenda, we have liaison and subcommittee reports. Not that I have any, and I feel like it's a little early in the month. I haven't had. Yeah, but, and obviously we've kind of talked about school project and some of the CIP things that came up earlier in the facility subcommittee, but Noreen, you had your hand raised.
Finance subcommittee would normally have met tonight. We didn't meet, because we met 2 weeks ago and nothing substantial had changed. So, we'll be back on our normal schedule for October. Last Friday, the athletic subcommittee met, Carrie, Courtney, Patrick and myself, had a good meeting. Talked about, how spring ended up, how fall is picking up, and we decided, I think our plan is to meet quarterly, right?
Yes, the next one's the first Friday in December.
To have the nice, I know there's today like the flag football, we're trying to get a flag football thing here at the elementary school for
the kids here an after school thing, kind of like they did with the soccer.
It's great. So I didn't have any signups on it after.
We have 5 so far, so it just went out late last week. We're going to put it back out tomorrow.
When you guys posted it on social media, I have to double check because I was sharing it, but it didn't look like there was like a live link to click on from the social media. Like it was just a flyer.
Well, there should be a link.
I think I just missed it and I don't know.
Yeah, on the bottom of the flyer says like click here to register.
Yeah, but it won't work
Yeah, it
on
won't work.
social media. So yeah, the link is underneath.
Okay,
It's underneath it. It's at the bottom of the post.
okay, all right. I'll just make sure somebody knows that. I gotta look. Perfect.
I
I did
appreciate
want to add too that there was like a nice thing in the summertime that with basketball here in town, which was really nice. I think it was just 5th and 6th, 7th and 8th grade. There was 2 teams that participated in a basketball league that they do in Winfield and Springfield. Yeah. And it was just really nice that I only know the 5th and 6th grade because my son did it. And the guys sponsored it themselves. They paid for the whole thing for the kids. And they were really great with the kids and they just want the basketball to keep going. And then I know the 7th and 8th grade team actually did pretty well. 5th and 6th grade was not quite as successful at winning, but they won 1 game, so it's all good. But it was just really nice and it was a lot of people volunteering time and money. And the guys own or if you ever see the food truck around, it's the Oxtail guys. One of the dads here is the chef. His kids come here to school here in town and stuff, but they paid for it. It was like $1,000 thing. And they paid for it and they paid for t-shirts and stuff for the kids. So it was just a really nice thing that they did to give back.
I run into them all the time. My son's the same age, so I usually schedule scrimmages actually with my son's team and their team
Yeah.
a couple of times a year. So I've
Yeah,
actually
they're really
gotten to
good
know
guys.
them. Yeah, and they definitely put their time in.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Thank you for that update. Yeah, it's good to hear.
Can I just have one question? So, I was a contact for the FRCs and their meetings. Have they started their meetings? Do they have any?
So that's the one where there aren't
We're
enough
gonna
people,
hold
so
them
they're
that
going to do it in a different fashion.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So we're not going.
You may be the only one on their board right now.
Oh,
So you can be,
all by myself. Okay.
so that will come before the full board, I think is what we
Yeah,
decided.
yeah. I still have to do some work on that and bring that back to the board.
Okay, okay. And then I will be attending, so I did get notification. So the Craig Council, is meeting next week. And, the executive director, is, retiring. And so the board will be, the committee will be, voting on a new executive director, for Craig, which will be interesting. So, we'll see.
Yeah, that's the person I think it will be. I think that'll be a very,
I think we probably know the person and until, and I think it will be an added value to everything in terms of us and anything that you think that I should be bringing to the council or bringing back from the council, please let me know.
yeah, we'll do. Daryl's in contact with Craig quite a bit too. Absolutely.
So I know, Kate mentioned facilities, as far as some of what we talked about, but in addition to going over the capital projects for next year, and the Woodline, runoff project, we also have been notified actually Patrick was it was Ryan that was notified that the state legislature has they're trying to establish a program similar to what the town side has called LoCIP, where they provide monies for capital projects. So it has to go through the bonding committee to be funded. It's a first year project, but if it is funded, we get 75,000 around. That is to be used for it's to proactively maintain facilities to avoid costly repairs, ensure students learn in a safe, modern, and well-maintained school buildings, and preserve resources for classroom instruction and student support. So that means it wouldn't be asked for under capital improvement. It would be automatically money that we get for capital for the school side, which is a big improvement, I think. The LoSiP on the town side, they get money. They use it mostly for, I think, road projects now. But it used to be for a variety of different kinds of projects. So, it's a great source for money that, you know, the town can't say, no, you can't fix your buildings. So. That was
Is it like a competitive, that would be?
I know.
It's an entitlement.
Oh, really?
So I think it's just like it's correct, divided by.
Yeah, if you look at it, it's called DRIP. It's a district repair.
District repair and improvement project program.
Yeah, so the state allocated within their budget 30 million total, and then they did individual district essentially entitlements. Ours, I guess, is 75. But it still needs, there's an extra layer of approval. So even though it's in the budget, the bonding commission still has to approve it. I was actually at a superintendent's meeting today with the Connecticut State Finance Project Group. And there's some uncertainty whether they will approve it. I think they're leaning to they will, but it's not like they basically said don't count on the money. They feel their thought is if it does get approved, then it will be a yearly approval. But again, there's some uncertainty whether the building committee will approve it. So we'll see.
It was 30 million in total.
For the state, yep. And what they said was the goal was for that to increase. And they said the rationale as far as securing addition, they said it's a little bit easier through the budget because it's through bonding. So I'm not going to pretend I understand the complete state budget, but that was kind of the context they provided.
Does bond council meet once a month? Do you know, Maureen?
They used to, I think it might be quarter.
Yeah. So it might be another quarter.
Yeah, they didn't mention when it was, and actually, no one asked. There was plenty of questions. That just wasn't one of them.
That was good news.
All right, are there any other further liaison or subcommittee reports? All right, we are at our second segment of public participation. Do we have any public participation this evening? So we have miscellaneous. I just wanted to double check because I know I'm not on that, but were the teacher contract negotiation dates like set up and were people notified of?
Yes, they all have those dates.
Okay, so people have those.
Yes.
I know Becky, you.
Yeah, no, I got
me,
it.
but you're all set. Okay. I'm not on those, so I just wasn't sure, but it was. Did you have any other miscellaneous?
I was just wondering, so the teacher of the year, is certainly recognized by the superintendent. Does the board ever send a letter of congratulations, acknowledgement, on behalf of the board? Do you think?
So we sent one on behalf of the district that like encompasses the board, but we can do one specifically from the board. I think that'd be a nice touch.
I really do think it would be nice if we could do that. Just something in the fun.
Yes. You want it to be on behalf of the board from Kate, or would you prefer each of you sign it?
Well, I think Kate is our chair, and that's fine.
We also have a para educator.
We do, and we can do the same.
Yeah.
Any other miscellaneous? Did anybody have anything else? All right, there's a few things in correspondence. There was, got letters thanking people for coming, to National Night Out, for having a table there. So thank you, Patrick, for writing that. A Capitol news briefing, that we had received the email on before about the student assessments and attendance results, which was really great that you were able to kind of get involved in that.
Yeah, no, that went very well. Obviously, we shared that correspondence through parents, through email, and then obviously through social media. This was kind of the follow-up from the Commissioner of Education, the Chief Performance Officer, essentially following up on our participation recognition app with the recent release of state assessment results.
I watched the whole thing. First time through, I watched our parts. I just kind of jumped to the East Windsor part. And then I did take the time to watch the whole thing, and it was really wasn't very informative, but it was nice to see how our district with the other three districts, but you kind of bounce. A lot of it can go in the same direction to get to those results. And I did just want to say thank you to Daryl for, within your part, and not so much for us, but, he did thank the board and the public for the support that they have shown and the improvements that we have made. Not many parents are gonna watch that, or not many people are gonna watch it, but, I appreciated it because honestly, a lot of the progress that we have made is because of the support of the public in town, the willingness to give us our money and let us do what we needed to do.
All right, thank you, Noreen. And then the last one is about the consolidated grant allocations.
Yeah, I wanted to speak to that a little bit. So that came, that's correspondence through the Connecticut State Department of Education. It is important to note because we were anticipating a reduction. So like when we budgeted a reduction in our title grants by, I think, about 30 or 40,000. Based on what we budgeted, we lost an additional 67,000 in our title grants. That is because of reduced overall federal funding. So it's not something specific to East Windsor. I was talking to the Enfield superintendent and he had indicated in their title grants, they took a hit of approximately the same. He said 70,000 in their title grants from what they budgeted as well too. Certainly we're working on that. Obviously, we'll have to figure it out, but I thought it was important that the board see the correspondence the state put out as well.
Yeah. So you budgeted, or you budgeted 40?
No, we lost about 100,000 overall. We were anticipating a reduction because we had a reduction last year, and speaking with the state, we understood that the reduction was essentially overall reduction to the federal. That was kind of like our piece of the pie, so to speak. And it was clear, it was myself and Daryl, I think at the time, who spoke to it. We could tell that it was going to be further reduced. So in planning with Ryan, we reduced it more, but obviously not enough.
No. So we're having to come up with.
Does the state have any plans?
Well, it's federal funding, so it's.
Right, but
They're not going, they don't have the funding in their budget
To-
yeah.
reassess
Yep.
how it would work.
Yep.
Okay. I just wonder, because I feel like some things they're saying might be cut federal, but you'll get it through the state, or, that's kind of the discussion, but I don't think it's actually.
They are 2-year grants, so not entire.
Stable.
So we do have time to, examine it further. And again, this is really recent correspondence, so.
Yeah.
So we do have to dig deeper and take a closer look, but again, because they're 2-year grants, we have some time.
Patrick, did we lose the money across the board, across the 3 grants, or?
The majority is Title I, the largest one, so I think like the smallest grant was like a couple $100. But the vast bulk of that is Title I.
That's the professional development, that's right. No,
But most of it came out of title.
That's some.
some in school, yeah. So you were gonna get, so what, I just want to understand, what are we making up in total? We lost 100,000 overall, right? Roughly. What did we budget for, like the 3 entitlement grants?
It was 67 more than what we're getting. Brian can give the exact.
Okay, I'm just trying to kind of.
Actually, you know what? I actually, I have it what you gave me, Brian. Actually, I do have it. So Title I, we budgeted 392,744. The updated one is 331,246. So the loss of revenue was 61,498. Title II, we budgeted 35,610. what we're receiving is 32,584. So the loss of revenue was just over 3,000. And then Title III, we budgeted 9,380. The update is 7,080, loss of 2,300. Total $66,824.
So the amounts that we got are in the packet. in the
Yeah, but-
correspondence.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah,
I just,
passing the-
yeah, I'm at different.
Yep, so this is.
Okay. And we anticipated, we pretty much anticipated this as far as.
Not
federal,
this-
Not to this extent.
Yeah.
But we knew there would be.
We
knew
did.
there would be cuts, you know.
But it was deeper than what we anticipated.
How are you, oh, I was gonna say, how are we anticipating that this is gonna affect the schools and the staff like in practice? 'Cause I know one of the focuses for this year was, or well, every year, but especially this year was kind of enhancing MTSS. And that's kind of what the tier one funding is geared towards. So, you know, can you talk a little bit about how you think that's gonna play out differently this year?
It's not going to impact us this year. Like I said, it's a 2-year grant.
Okay.
And I mean, so other examples, and again, we got this, I think, correspondence like last week.
Yeah.
But there's also additional, like, so on the positive, special ed has been further funded and there's a seed grant. And so, you know, some of that it's different pots of money,
Yeah.
but when you move it around, you're looking at the total number, it's going to soften that number a little bit.
Okay.
So,
We're hoping to make it up from other funding and grant sources.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's the biggest one.
And potentially, maybe if the following year we get some money for the other thing that Denise was mentioning, like if we don't have to fund repairs as much, then maybe, you know, but if that was something we would have gone to CIP for, that's different. But if it's something that we can take out, you know, again, that may work in our favor. All right, we do have need for an executive session.
Oh, I thought you said we didn't.
No, we didn't at the beginning. We had two. We had one at the beginning and one at the end. I should have. I should have clarified. At the very beginning of the agenda, and we had one at the end. Here. I know it. I don't think it's gonna be that long, honestly, but it was, the beginning one was a grievance and this one is different.
Gotta go into executive.
So, yes, I need a motion.
And said executive session.
All right, so I have a motion from Carrie to go into executive session. I need a second. I'm sorry, who was that? Gabby seconded. All in favor? Aye. All right, at 8:10, we're going into executive session. Heather is going to step out, right?